not. Hello, hello. 5th of December 2025. It is feeling very summery here in New Zealand, and today's community call is a different structure. We've got Kate here,
Hello, hello.
not in summer.
Definitely not in summer. We have so much snow. It is minus 24 degrees Celsius today. It is so cold. It is so cold. But this is the way in Canada.
Before we hit record, we were talking about how the extreme opposites of the seasons. Like we don't notice it so much in autumn and spring, but we get to summer and winter, and it's like, when did you last see a flower outside?
Yeah, it's been months. So the last time that I saw would have been end of October, beginning of November. We started to get flurries and snow and sub-zero temperatures in November. Lots of rain and the leaves have all fallen. And so it just becomes this very barren landscape, and yet so crystalline and so beautiful. The way that the sun plays on the snow. This past full moon, which I would love to chat with you a little bit about. I mean, this full moon was so beautiful. They call it the cold moon here. And it was in Gemini and it was transiting in front of Pleiades. And it was just like a very potent full moon. And I really felt everything finally freeze. So there's a time when it's coming and it's like a thaw and then it freezes and then a thaw and then it freezes and then everything freezes very deep and the ground freezes very deep. And when that happens, it's a quiet that comes over the land. And that has been this week that the fully winter is here. Which is beautiful. It's actually really for me, having grown up here and having grown up in these cycles, I look to it. It's something that allows for this great long in breath, um, to just receive and I think interesting as well that we're in this first week of Advent and it's the week of minerals and stones and bones and shells and so that all feels very poignant as things become crystallized. So yeah, it's
And so
cool.
you did the nativity play last week, right? Like you
I
had
did.
weeks and weeks of preparation and busy and rehearsals and ballet and driving and
Yeah.
costumes and set and sickness and children.
Yes. Yeah, just a regular fall in Ontario. It was so beautiful. This was a homeschool co-op group that came together. I co-directed with a beautiful friend and musical partner. She handled the music, and I did all of the physicality and the actual directing and the sets and all that kind of stuff. But it was a true partnership, and it was really fun. The children worked so hard and we had two sold out shows, which felt so great. And it was in this little tiny community hall that we couldn't leave the sets up because they have to use the floors for shuffleboard. you know so they had to take everything down every rehearsal and put everything back up. So it was true community building. It was received really well, and it's been good. It's been really for us, that is an activity that allows us to bring the homeschool to the community, this homeschool experience, and be able to grow the children's ability for performance and to socialize and be with these other children and work towards a common goal. And so we have a couple of extracurriculars that we do, ballets and other, but this is was really something that was so special to see these children and also to embody the story of the season, to give a little bit more context. These are small children, 5, 6, 7 years old. We had a couple of older 12 and 13-year-olds. But for a lot of them, this is probably the first time that they'll be really that this core memory of what is the season, what is this open-heartedness, what is this sharing that we're trying to bring, and this reverence that we're trying to bring to this time of year. What is that about? More than just Santa Claus and gifts, what is it that we're trying to impart upon them in terms of what we expect as community members, what we expect as family members, and all of those kinds of things. So it was really beautiful. We had a great time.
Wow. Don't know what to say to that. When my kids were at the Waldorf school, uh, Advent fair and Advent period is late spring. And so when I first moved to the Titirangi Steiner School, I stupidly, luckily, took on the task of the class project, making the advent calendars and gathering walnut shells and spray painting them and sewing strips of velvet and making the little felt toys and gluing them all. And, I've still got a box somewhere with these tiny little shepherds and these tiny little sheep that it was like, whoa, but it was summer. It's so different to be working through that story in a warm season. It's just bizarre.
It's so interesting, and especially as we proceed closer to solstice,
Hmm.
where for us right now we are getting ready for our greenery and our solstice walk. So as our Waldorf community, and I've been responsible for gathering the greenery every year, we have to go and trudge through big, huge, like crazy feats of snow and pull a sled and then find the trees in our friend's like 50 acres that she allows us to go and harvest. Excuse me, and and see what they have, what trees are willing to give for the greenery, and then haul it all back out through all the snow. And the coldness is very much like part of the tradition. So it's so interesting to me to imagine where you guys are, which is a welcoming of this return of warmth and this full embracing of the sunny, the summer is coming for you. And here we are like going into the darkest time. So
Mm.
by 4 p.m., I mean, we get some sun by 7 or 8 a.m., but it's very gray and streaks of blue. And then by 4 p.m., it's sunset. And by 5 o'clock, it's pitch black. And then you're just in this darkness.
Yeah.
So, so there is this sense of this carrying this light and teaching the children to carry their light in the darkness
Mm.
that I do see that Waldorf having its beginnings in kind of that Germanic, more seasonal
Mm.
place. I
Mm.
can see how it does lend itself well to this season, but how beautiful it is that, that in the Southern Hemisphere, you guys are like, nope, we're doing it. Here it is, and it's summer. And how does that change for you guys? Like, what are you thinking about in terms of your offerings for your biodynamic work for solstice? And because we do Three Kings, but it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, we did a three king study a couple of years ago, and after using it and like doing the 12 holy nights kind of meditation experience, I was like, I want to do this in June, July. Like it feels like a winter
Yeah.
preparation more than a spiritual this time of year activity. But it was beautiful to do. But what am I doing biodynamic wise? To be honest, I'm still immersed in the flower project still. That I'm not even bothered this year that I haven't, put down. I could have put the preps down in autumn to dig up in spring. I haven't moved house, and I'm like, oh well, it doesn't
Hmm.
really it doesn't matter as much as it would have a year ago. Um, so we've had a heap of rain, so I'm not too worried about the garden drying out. but I am preparing for that long dry spell and trying to get all the pathways well mulched. I'll probably empty out all the leaf mold. I did a CPP stir last night, thinking, man, I've got these preparations in the garage that I haven't used for too long.
Yeah.
Getting them out. Um, and I was doing some transplanting last week, and I've run out of my potting mix blend. So I'm opening up compost piles that I didn't think would be ready, and they are because I've been using the floral compost activator. It's like they're speeding up. It's fine, crumbly, soft soil, and it's. I'm getting lazy with my composting, and I love it. Just like,
And do you think that you feel that because of the work with the floral compost activator, because of how amazing these results have been, where you feel this, you can see so quickly the benefit, the breakdown in the 6 to 8 weeks, and that it's so simple, the collecting of the flowers that you already did all of your due diligence over the last year, that you're not as reliant or as nervous about not having the other preparations because you know you have this powerhouse in your back pocket. And
yeah,
not to say that those aren't important, but for the person who doesn't have a big farm, do you think that that's something that's kind of giving you a sense of peace?
yeah, for sure. And it's definitely opened up far more questions about the plants themselves, but also other plants. Like I'm going, okay, lavender. What is it you do for the soil? And far out, and lemon verbena and lemon balm, and yeah, like, and so this week I'm looking at seeds. And tell me honestly, what do you think about packaging up dandelion seeds for people?
I think if they think they need to buy it on the internet, or if they think they have to buy it,
Just
then
like
do it.
dandelion is everywhere. You shouldn't.
No, I know, but if people don't get it, like, then at least it's a way for them to get it, right?
Yeah. And these teeny tiny little dandelion seeds, I mean, technically, they're they're biodynamic dandelion.
Of course they are.
Do
They
you really
are.
do you really want to harvest your dandelion from somewhere that's been sprayed with glyphosate for 20 years? Like,
Absolutely not. And I think that that actually does speak to the true for me as a buyer or somebody that would be looking to find seed or source seed, I'm looking for growers that are growing biodynamically, that are growing organically, because I don't feel that if you're gonna certain kinds of seeds you can't find with that are all sprayed with glyphosate or that are all cultivated and with chemicals. And so it is something that people might value that aren't able, say that they're just starting out and that they're trying to convert back their gardens.
yeah. So
It's true.
I'll get over my embarrassment and start saving some of the
It's
debt.
only embarrassing because you have this wealth of knowledge. Truly, it's only embarrassing because if you didn't know and you were just starting, then you're not
True,
embarrassed because you're totally just trying to find the
true,
healthiest seeds, right? To
true,
start the lineage.
true. And like, and it's probably the case that garden centers, I doubt they sell dandelion seeds.
Well, because they're so busy trying to kill them. They all are. Poor Dandelion is the most hunted.
Oh, on that note, I saw something amazing first on, I think it was on LinkedIn, and then I went and found it on Instagram, that the main scientific article that defends the use of glyphosate has been retracted by the
I saw
academic
this too.
journal that published. Yes.
I saw this too. I saw it on Instagram. I was like, yes, yes, this has to happen.
Yay.
It's
So,
a big win. I don't know. We'll see what. what's going to happen now in terms of next steps, but it means that the rules and regulations that were based on that data are no, are now being questioned, which is huge.
So it could position the work we've been doing as here's a way to start to garden and farm and grow without that chemical. Like
Yeah.
come play. We can help
Yeah.
you. Yeah. It's a beautiful transition.
Well, it's interesting too that I think people don't understand that dandelion will proliferate until its job is done, and then it kind of goes away. And so it's really interesting because when you will start to allow the flowers to have their natural seeding, they have a will of their own, and they will do the work that they're supposed to do. And so one year, if you haven't let the dandelions grow and you allow the dandelions to grow, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, there's dandelions everywhere. This is crazy. I'm not going to have any room for all my other flowers. It's going to be dandelions forever. And then slowly but surely, give it a year, give it 2 years. And this is the thing about biodynamics that complements permaculture. Because again, coming from my permaculture background, where you're supposed to observe for 7 years before you do anything, right? So allowing the flowers to actually be wild for the 7 year process, by year 3 or 4, they're gone. And you're like, geez, I need to buy some seed from Katrina because because they do their thing, right? And then you end up needing to kind of grow some in a bed and allow for them to stay because once they've done their work, that beautiful nitrogen fixing, breaking up all of those soil with those deep roots, they will have remedied the soil and then they pass to allow for the next level of whatever the soil needs, which is
Mm.
the intelligence of the
Mm.
flower world that we try to manage and that we think we know better and we can do this and we if we add all these things then our soil will be so good, but the truth is if you just get out of the way then nature really does know what it's doing so much more than anything else. But that's the hardest thing I think for gardeners because you just get itchy fingers. You just sort of get in there and do all the things. So it's tricky.
Yeah. Um, so next up, I've got four nettle plants here on my desk, and I've
Okay,
got a list of things that have happened since the last community call. So, are you okay if I just rattle through? And if you want
do
to
it.
chime in, then do so. So the last Zoom call was 30th of November, Sunday evening. So since then, it's been what, 5 days? So Tuesday, I went and saw the garden. It's about half an hour from me. It's someone I met at a local networking event. He's a holistic nutritionist. He's got a commercial kitchen at his home, lives in the countryside, lovely kitchen garden. And I said to him at this networking event, oh, it would be great to have a nutritionist doing this work with us to give us that feedback from a diet perspective. And he sent me an email saying, I would love to be part of the research. I'm over there. And I got there and I had the little bottle of the activator and I said, okay, show me your compost. And there wasn't a compost. So there's potential to do some workshops and things. So that's in motion. And then Thursday evening, last night, we had the final wrap up session with a international seed enterprise training sort of 4 month program with Alex Edelson and Petra Derrickson from the BFDI, the Biodynamic Federation German International. And there was an opportunity to present a business case. And I put my hand up and said, well, yeah, I'll share what I do with seeds and kind of focus in on how we would produce and sell and distribute or crowdsource and share seeds relevant to the flower project. So Alex was like, yeah, let's like really focus on what would help the floral compost activator reach more people through the lens of seed production. So I did that last night and it was good. So I now have to put that into a sort of a business plan and get that off to them, which will act as sort of an application for an incubator program in 2026 if they get funding to carry on. Um, so there's that. Also in the garden this week, I used the last of the compost under the privet tree, which had I swear it was less than 6 weeks old, and I just had a wee poke at it and it was ready to use. So that's all used up. And I was transplanting, I needed potting mix. So I went to the next oldest pile, like not expecting it to be ready, and it was ready. So it's it's working. Like I
Yeah,
think a lot of this year has been the cooler season for me, that it hasn't been that quick to see the quick return effects. And now I'm seeing them, that it's just like I can make lazy compost and that's good enough. Like if we can all make lazy compost and it is good enough, then yay. I've got an email from Sue Hoskin with her observations. So Sue is one of our most respected biodynamic prep makers here in New Zealand, and so she's trying the floral compost activator, and it's just the joy of having someone who's steeped in normal biodynamics share the kind of like bewildered surprise at how the liquid changes color and the bubbles and the aroma. And it's like, yes, you get it. It's not my imagination. Um,
totally.
so she's also sent me all the records that are required for prep makers doing biodynamic preparations. So when you pick flowers, you have
Amazing.
to record the moon phase and the constellation and other things. So she's offered to put together a sort of a protocol for us for flower picking and activator making that will be a template that if we ever reach the stage where the May Bruce's work is adopted into the biodynamic movement, then we'll have some templates that we can say this is what we've been using. And who knows, BFTI and Demeter standards may one day acknowledge May's work, which is cool. So Sue's support with that's just been phenomenal. I planted chamomile yesterday, descending full moon, Taurus, earth sign. I was meant to take a bottle of activator to the local marae in Turco, but the meeting was cancelled. So I had this diluted batch that I just chucked it in the worm farm, which is a little bit smelly. There were some fruit flies. It's been getting all my meat scraps. I had a huge chunk of bread that had gone off. I still waste food.
That's
I checked it this morning and the bread is decomposing beautifully. The fruit flies are less, the worms look happy, there's no odor. It's like, it works, it really works.
that's so crazy.
Um, what else? Questions for the seed incubator. I'm curious about the seasonality of chamomile. How late into spring and summer is it okay to plant seeds and still expect flowers? So I don't expect you to have the answer, but it's like,
No, I did. Definitely do not know the answer.
and it'll depend on it'll be regional specific. And
It will be
then
regional, but it also, I mean, I think that there's going to be similarities between regions, and I think that
mm,
that will have to do with temperate, the all of the weather and stuff like that. So I think you could eventually be able to say, okay, if this is your, here we have zones like zone 3 to zone 10 or whatever, and figuring out what you can imagine that would be some kind of like a chart.
yeah, yeah, cool. So the next question, seeds for stinging nettle. Did you got yours from your mum's, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, like so that's one of my nettle plants that is going to seed that I'm gonna shake those seeds. Some have fallen on my computer keyboard. I keep metal growing out.
It's
Um,
blessings.
and have a go. But it's so easy to grow just from a cutting, stick it in water. It's like mint, or dig up a piece of the roots like that, and then that will thrive. I
Yeah.
I don't feel like I want to go to the fuss of saving seeds and having packets if root divisions are better. But on that note, these four plants, that one is from my favorite nettle patch. So there's a shorter distance between the um,
Hmm.
the leaf nodes, and I'll measure these and do some photos and drawings. And then this one is outside the kitchen window under the oak tree, fed by worm castings, lots of shade, and much longer distance between the nodes on the stems, and it's
Hmm.
it's floppy. It's a lighter green, just totally different gesture and character. And then this one is really cool. This has been in a bathtub worm farm that I repurposed and filled with human compost that I didn't have anywhere that I needed it. So I just filled up this unused bathtub, and I planted this nettle with the intention of that going back into the human compost. But the roots are yellow, and they've got these fine hairs that it's like a different expression of the plant. And I'm just going to kind of observe and compare, do some measurements, and take some notes. But we think, or I've always thought, that nettle is nettle is nettle, and it's not.
No.
And isn't that cool?
But every plant has that. There's almost, I feel like every seed is the same. It has a will to live. It's going to have its own unique thumbprint on this world, its own unique manifestation.
Mm,
And that is the incredible world that we live in here.
mm, yeah. So those are my updates for today. And normally, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I got this book from England. So this is
Book return. There, I can see it now. Ooh, no, I did not see this beautiful book. That looks nice.
this is by Andrew Davenport, who sells
Oh, okay. Yes, you were mentioning him.
return compost activator. So I've started reading. It's teeny tiny print, like
No, geez. Oh,
almost
Andrew.
worth photocopying and like
Yeah.
blowing up to A3 pages or something. Or getting a magnifying glass. But I haven't marked out a paragraph to read for today. And normally I would make up a batch, but I've got jars sitting around that I don't need any more made up this week. I'm not going to do that today. Yeah.
I love it. I love that you have flowers and you have things growing. It's so special. It's so beautiful. My
Oh,
mom's
and
place here is hopefully going to be getting a greenhouse, which would be a very huge, like, knock on wood. We're not there yet, but there's rumblings of how do we extend the season? How do we extend the observation opportunities? If we're going to be living here in Huntsville now, which looks like the way of it, then how can we convert this property that we have to better grow, like to really put into effort into growing these six main plants and having access to them and really creating the beds. So we'll see, but it's so exciting to see all of the daydreams um, coming to life a bit. So we'll see.
cool. Now you wanted to talk about the full moon, and I think it was the Seed Enterprise meeting finished at midnight for me last night, and I was wide awake at 4 a.m. And um, in my morning kind of journaling time, I've been struggling with what's the next thing to launch, what's the next angle to take, what's the next way of doing this, and
Yeah.
I have my very first overnight sleepovers coming up on Christmas Day with my granddaughter Hazel. She's going to be that. It's like my gardening is what would Hazel enjoy? So I'm doing little sneaky pathways, and there's strawberries everywhere, and I'm going to protect her from the stinging nettle. Inside's going to be different. That I'm just thinking, the family-friendly biodynamics. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to rewrite that and call it gardening with grandkids and focus
Oh, I
on
love it.
the
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
focus on the 2, 3, 4 year old, the kindergarten child,
Yes.
and just for people like me that the empty nester, I look at you with Sassy and just like I feel such nostalgia. I could cry. Like I loved that stage of motherhood. That if I could
Yeah,
go
it's
back for
magical.
half an hour,
Yeah, it's so magical and it is why I take it so seriously.
yes, yeah,
You really only get one shot at it
you
and it's
do.
like you blink and you miss it.
Yep, you never take your eye
But
off it. Yep. And even now, like I can tune into my two daughters, and you never take your
yeah.
that tab is always open. So with Hazel living down in Dunedin, I haven't seen her for almost a year,
Oh my goodness.
and she's coming for Christmas. And I mean, we don't do Christmas presents, Christmas meal. We it's just special time. But yeah, Jessica's boyfriend is up here as well, so they're gonna go, and I'm gonna have time with Hazel. But it's like.
Pinch me. It's gonna be wonderful.
So watch out for that gardening with grandkids and the floral project with an eye for how do you do this with a toddler?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I love that. Lean into that. I think that's beautiful.
it's the full moon energy. Oh, and the other thing from the seed thing was I gave my presentation and there were pictures of children, and the other women in my breakout room also had activities with children. That there's this idea of the seeds are calling for us to share with the next gen, like they're future focused, future facing, that it's a future orientation. That's my full moon kind of reflection. But how is the full moon for you? How is it? Because it's kind of right now.
Yeah, yeah, it is right now. I think I'm in a really introspective place right now where I'm really re-examining what are the main tasks in my life. How do I prioritize this passion I have for biodynamics and this passion for floral compost and living gently and as well with making money. Those are two, it's a bit of a balance that I'm struggling with. And so just continuing to try and find ways to contribute while also being incredibly present as the primary caregiver for my daughter and the homeschooler. So it feels like I'm being really called to streamline streamline what it is that I'm doing and where my energies are going. For us moving into solstice, we are doing a marionette workshops for the children. So we're going to create our own workshop, our own marionettes. And we're going to be in an hour north of here at my mentor Elise's, at my Waldorf mentor in her yurt. And we're going to create a play for the elementals that will be performed on December 21st of the solstice. So I feel really in that process already. I can already feel that the elementals are incredibly excited to receive this gift of theater. Like that's, oh, like they have this like sense about it, like, oh, wonderful. We've been waiting for this. So that to me is a little bit of what I'm downloading right now. And I also just, this is a little bit not about the full moon, but in general, all of my preps, all of my everything I've harvested was left in the city, and that's coming in the next couple of weeks. So I will have a return of all of my flowers and all of my jars and all of my stuff. And that'll be really good because my worms are needing it. The fruit flies are out of control. I've gotten crazy. There's maggots now that have started. And we're in this tiny little apartment, and I have two worm farms going that all of my kitchen scraps are going towards not meat. I'm not adding meat, I'm not adding bread, and I'm not adding citrus to it. Because I do think that it's a little too small, but maybe that's if once I get the flower compost going and I'm adding it, I think I'm excited to document it and see kind of how it's going because I have lots of evidence of how it's been going without it, which is not well.
Do you have
So,
any indoor plants?
pardon?
Do you have any indoor plants?
I have one indoor plant.
Are they a thing there? And like I can't imagine how an indoor plant would cope in low light in winter in
It
Canada.
depends on the space. We have really beautiful windows up here.
Okay.
But they do have to be very like in like kind of a south facing window.
Yeah.
And so my indoor plants, I was down to only four because I found that I was spending so much time outdoors that I would bring in whatever at the end of the season that I needed. But this year, knowing we were making the move, I really, everything's still there in the city.
Mm,
So, and that garden is still available to me. I can still go. That's where
mm,
I've been growing my chamomile. It's where I've been growing my sienna. I worked to establish them this past summer. So they're not, I'm not, I don't have, I haven't lost access to that
no,
property
no.
at all. But it will be interesting to see what comes back in April, May, June,
Yeah.
because it's three zones or two zones warmer in Toronto than it is where I'm living now. So I'm in a 4B, and there is a 6A, actually more closer to a 7 now because it's increasingly getting warmer and warmer there.
Yeah.
So so they get spring earlier, they get so much more. I mean, even last year, considering all of the troubles that we had, I was still a month ahead of here.
Mm,
So they didn't start growing till June.
mm.
I'm like, that's too long. I can't wait till June. So we'll see. Maybe some trips south are in the mix somehow. Living in Siberia. But
Mm.
so it is.
Oh, I think we're full.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm just excited. I'm excited to get back into the flower project and start contributing again more. I feel like this last fall has been such a huge flux for me, and moving homes, and then as well trying to create all of this artistic community work has been fabulous. But now that's wound down, and I can see how these next few months are just going to be more at home, working, writing, getting things done, which is when I really started the flower project. Last year was in late
Yes,
January,
it
early
was in
February.
winter. And
So it was winter.
kind of winter and watching and vicariously, oh, the other
Yeah, and writing about
side.
watching. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And
think that that actually is a natural expression and part of my maybe yearly cycle. So I think
mm.
it'll be interesting to see how the next
And
couple
I
months unfold.
often like I really love being in spring and watching North American techniques for gathering leaves. Like it's a really nice reminder, like I've got 6 months before I hit mountains of leaves to deal with. But I never thought of doing that. And it's kind of like plugging in my mind to pull out later. But
Yeah.
I think it's useful to hold the opposites. And also, when I was in England at the research conference, I remember having a meal. Like I couldn't feel New Zealand. I was trying to tune in and I couldn't. And it took 3 or 4 days, but I was having a meal with a eurythmist and saying, do you feel the other side of the world? Like, can you feel the opposite season? And he was looked at me like, no, why would we? Just like, no. The,
So
so
interesting.
Eurocentric that I think as a discipline of having the
Yeah,
exist together. Yeah.
because I feel it. I can feel you. But I've traveled extensively over there. So
And
I've
that
been introduced and I've
helps.
introduced myself. I've never made it to New Zealand, but I've introduced myself to the South Pacific.
Yeah.
So
I'll get
I
you over
do
here
feel it.
someday.
Ah,
Let's manifest that for 2026.
let's do it.
I'm going to stop the recording there. Thank you.
Thank you.